Well, good morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Monday, February 8th, the feast day of Saint Josephine Bakhita. She was a virgin and martyr of the faith. She died in 1947, which is not that long ago. Um, she is the patroness or patron saint of Sudan in North Africa, as well as human trafficking survivors. And she was martyred, and she actually thanked the people who attacked her and tormented, tortured her, and eventually killed her because she said through their attacks of her, that's what grew her closer to have such a devout faith. So she took that suffering and turned it into good, where she was no longer afraid of death. And as Christians, that's a challenge for all of us to live in such a way and have such a deep faith and trust in God that death does not fear us. And then we can somehow, some way, try to do our best to find joy in suffering. So, Saint Josephine Bakhita, a more recent modern day saint, might be one to intercess for you. So, today's gospel is from Mark chapter 6, verses 53 through 56. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen. After making the crossing, they came to land at Gennesaret and tied up there. As they were leaving the boat, people immediately recognized him. They scurried about the surrounding country and began to bring in the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. Whatever villages or towns or countryside he entered, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch only the tassel on his cloak, and as many as touched it were healed. All right, so we've got the healings at Gennesaret, and this is, notice how attractive Jesus is to everybody. You sometimes wonder, like if Jesus was looking forward to death, not in such a way that he didn't enjoy his life. You can see and recall his struggle and his agony in the garden before he was to suffer. So it wasn't easy. But, at times, and you at times, and you also hear like movie stars sometimes, and those who are like extremely famous athletes, where they kind of just get tired of all the media and the crowds that always follow them. Starts with a T. I forget what word that is. I think it was a T. Either way, all the people that are after them, and they just can never feel like they can just breathe and be themselves and be alone. And you sometimes wonder if Jesus felt that way, because he had just finished doing a lot of healings, and then they crossed the other side of the sea and got out of the boat, and people automatically recognized him and flocked to him. So that just came to mind just now. Tabloid? I forget what's that word? Oh well. The back to this. So you notice how many people came to him and were healed, and they only touched his tassel on his cloak, and through their faith they were healed. So that kind of at the priest at mass this morning during his homily mentioned that these people they just touched his tassel and we were healed. And they were healed. But us as Catholics, we get to receive Jesus and bring all of our suffering and everything that we need healed to him, and actually have Jesus Christ in us through that material substance of the Eucharist, which was a very powerful connection there. But anyways, the challenge today that I've gathered from here is that all these people are flocking to Jesus in search of healing. And they were in need of that back then, and there's so many people in need of it right now, of just how many people would go to Jesus. So that's something to just keep in mind, that the amount of people that go to Jesus for healings, they still need healing now around us, no matter where you're at, family, friends, your job, whatever. There's so many people in search of healing right now, either physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. So that's just something to keep at the forefront of our mind and be a constant reminder that if we're suffering in some sort of way, other people probably are too. And most likely they are. So we need to constantly remind ourselves and discipline ourselves to be kind to one another through both our words and our deeds. Have a great Monday. God bless. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit. Amen.